and it was the highest rated new cartoon of 1994. It was very well received by fans and critics, and it lasted 2 seasons, ending in 1995. It was canceled for funding purposes, but it was the early 90s. Parents were, obsessed with violence in television, what their kids were watching, and Ted Turner just pulled the plug. It was pretty much, there's no official documentation saying Ted Turner did this, but we all know Ted Turner did it. And then all of a sudden, the spot for SWAT Kats gets replaced by
your powers combined, I am Captain Planet!
Captain Planet. Of course, awesome show, but it was a violent show. It was probably the most violent cartoon ever aired to kids in the early 90s. I mean, there was a lot of violence. You saw a gangster get burned alive by a laser gun. You saw a bus full of, you saw a train full of people get devoured by a slime monster, which was then blown up. Nobody survived that. You see cop cars get pancaked by tanks. You see just all of this massive collateral damage in this show, and it's not like alluded that people, survived, because there was no way that they could have survived. So it was violent, but it was just so good. The storytelling was good. The villains were awesome, like Batman awesome. We had Dr. Viper, the mutated biologist who was obsessed with turning the city into a swamp, and he was just very cruel and awesome. The Metallicats, the Bonnie and Clyde meets Terminator. 2 gangsters that got turned into robots that constantly fight and bicker with each other. But they make an awesome team. You have, let's see here, Dark Cat, like the baddest of all the bads. Like, this man is feared by all the villains as well. He gets other villains to do work for him, through blackmail and manipulation and torture. He has gremlins that follow him around. He combines fan speculation. But the show was awesome. It was inspired by, it was a bit of Top Gun meets Batman, the animated series. The 2 main characters, they would fight in a jet. We have T-Bone, we got Razor, we have the Turbo Cat. We have giant monsters attacking the city. Our police officers, they need a bit more than just stun guns and squad cars. They need tanks and jet fighters. So anyways, these guys were jet fighters for the enforcers, and, well, after a certain argument with their boss, they crashed their plane into the military headquarters. They got fired, and they got left with a bill of several $1 billion, and they were forced to work in a scrapyard until they paid it off. So they used the scrapyard. They went at the scrapyard. They used the resources that they could find to build a jet and build a base, and started fighting vigilante crime. They saved the city numerous times, but they're still technically criminals. Commander Farrell, he's the big boss of the enforcers. He was always, against the SWAT Kats, but he kind of had good reason to be. You could kind of see frustration with him, like the fact that the SWAT Kats could do all this without going through red tape, that they caused so much collateral damage. I mean, they do kind of level half the city to save it. He's been given situations where he could choose between giving up his morals for catching the SWAT Kats.
Wait, Farrell, put that thing down and we'll tell you the secret identities of the SWAT Kats.
Yeah, we found out who they are.
And so can you. Just let us go.
I don't deal with scum.
You could have.
Don't make a big deal about it. I just didn't want to owe those 2 hoods anything.
It was either stick to his morals or put the SWAT Kats behind bars. He's been put in situations like that, and he would always stick to his morals. That's kind of something that you kind of have to respect. So the characters were great. It was a good show, great action, good stories, amazing villains. I'm a huge fan of the show. I wasn't told about this Kickstarter until 2 weeks after it started, but ever since then, I would check the Kickstarter page like every other week to hear about any news. And as soon as I heard that they would be doing a panel here in Houston, I bought my tickets immediately. I had to come here. I had to see them. To hear stories about how they created the show. This is kind of like a childhood dream come true. I feel like an 8-year-old again.